Wells go unchecked for a long time. Some wells are neglected for years. Your job, while looking for problems, is also to fill in old, unused wells. If left open, debris and pollution have a fast track into your drinking water supply. Abandoned wells should be filled by certified well drillers. Contamination generally comes from being too close to septic tanks, animal feces, agricultural operations, improper chemical use or disposal, landfills, and industrial pollutants. Protecting your water supply requires simple and regular maintenance. Foremost, protect the area around your well.
Something that a well owner can do to test whether or not their well is constructed properly, or if their well needs to be maintained, better maintained, is to check the lid to see if it's properly placed on the casing, to make sure that the ground surface is sloping away from the well casing so water doesn't pull around the casing. Also check for cracked casing that's above the surface, and look inside the well to see if you can see any cracks inside the well below land surface. A way that you can test to see if surface water is entering your well, is to pour water around the wellhead, approximately 10 gallons, and just visually look and see if water's coming in around the discharge pipe, or if it's coming in around the top 3 joints of the casing. And if water's coming in those locations, that means you have to do some type of maintenance work on that well to seal those leaks, or you have to install another well. Those types of leaks are excellent sources for bacteria to enter the well and other contaminants that may be carried by surface water.
If you have a private well on your property, it's important to maintain it and have it tested to ensure your family's health.
We wanted to know what the quality of our water was, mainly for the protection of our family, to find out what we were drinking, what the conditions of the groundwater were, and to make sure we had good, safe drinking water. And through this program and through thorough testing, we found that out.
Private water wells are not regulated. We do not regulate private water wells. Now, let me say one thing. If you poured gasoline in your well or a chemical, you would be degrading the waters of the Commonwealth, and that would be a violation of the regulations. You need to shock chlorinate it once a year minimum for iron bacteria and sulfate bacteria so it doesn't clog up your pipes.
I now know I have to inspect the well, and more importantly, I know I have to bleach the well. That's something I had never heard of before in my life, and I think that it's important from everything I've heard here, and I don't know if this system has ever been bleached based on the people that owned the place prior to us. So this is something we're going to be doing very soon at our household.
State laws do not require the testing of private drinking water wells, and regulatory agencies are not required to monitor private drinking water systems. If you have a private drinking water well, the only way for you to ensure that it's safe and clean for you to drink is to have it tested. Your local county health department is a great place to start.
As an extension agent, when people come to me and raise a question about having their water tested, wanting to have it looked at for more than whether or not it has its bacterial contamination, which is something that's handled through county health departments, or it is in this county. If they want it to be screened for herbicides or fertilizers, these other things that fall outside of the realm of what the health department is set up to handle, the Kentucky Geological Survey is a source. They might be able to do the testing. If they are unable to do that testing, they might be able to offer a referral, or they will offer a referral to someone else who is certified and able and competent to do that testing.
Having your well water tested for bacteria is important and is the most common water test performed on domestic well water. However, there are other contaminants that well owners need to be aware of. These include nitrate nitrogen, which can be derived from nitrogen fertilizers, septic tanks, and animal waste. Another contaminant includes pesticides, which may include weed killers and bug sprays. Also be aware of metals such as iron and manganese, which are not harmful if ingested, but can cause staining in toilets and clothes. It is recommended that you have your well water tested for these potential contaminants at least once a year, especially if you have a septic tank and are located near row crop fields or an active or abandoned animal feeding line.
What we're going to do is we're going to filter a sample. We're going to take the Tygon tubing, stick it into the bucket of water that came out the well. We're going to turn on the peristaltic pump. The water is going to be pumped through the 0.45 micron filter, which is going to take out all of the solids. And what we're trying to sample for are the total dissolved metals.
Often, a water test is the next step in diagnosing potential problems, and as the homeowner, your responsibility. If you buy a house with a private well, a water quality test is just as important as the home inspection or deed.
We had our well water tested before we bought the house. That was one of the conditions. I didn't want to buy a house that I wasn't sure that the water was half decent and that the septic system worked all right. And both of those were tested and we paid for that. But now we have them, we don't know what to do with them.
Well, if you have bacterial contamination in your well, the presence of the coliform organism does not necessarily indicate fecal pollution, such as fecal coliform or E. coli. If there is coliform bacteria in the well, then that indicates that there is a strong possibility that other organisms could be present. We always recommend if there's coliform bacteria, whether it's total or fecal, in the well, that they treat and disinfect that well. It's preferred that a county environmentalist come out and collect the sample. That's mainly so we know that the sample is collected following the guidelines that the State Public Health Agency has set forward. So for $15 and minimal work on the homeowner's part, it's a good peace of mind to have your well tested.
Let's recap our main points to remember. The area around your well is very sensitive. Keep away animals, fuels or chemicals, equipment, and pollution threats. Notice any changes in color, smell, or taste. Test water at least once a year. Have unused wells professionally sealed to keep contaminants or surface runoff from entering. Contact qualified specialists to discuss concerns or correct problems. Have your well disinfected at least once per year using bleach. And spread the word by teaching others about protecting their wells.